matter what, people are still people. So even though it's really easy to separate ourselves from each other by saying, I have a house, you don't, I have this much money and you don't, there's still these same base needs and wants.
What we've done here in the last semester is we got to know the homeless community in Charlottesville. We got to know the organizations that support it, and we're here today to tell you their stories.
As a photographer, I really like to capture an image that tries to tell a story in some sense. You can just walk down the corner, you can walk down the lawn, you can walk down the downtown mall, and every single time your experience will be different, and every single time you'll be able to capture a different moment that you may never ever see again. A picture by no means tells an entire story. Only gives you one perspective really on an event or on someone's life. When Greg and I were walking down the corner, we met Mike with his dog, his pit bull, who just kept sitting on my lap every time she could. He, lived in the 757 area and how he traveled and how he thought Charlottesville was the best place to be homeless and what that even meant and why he didn't really ever want to go back to the Haven again. So I asked him if I could take his picture because I thought his story was so meaningful and interesting and that I really just wanted to capture that moment, and I asked him if I could share it with the class. He pointed at me and he said, that right there, that what you're doing is the most truthful way of telling a story. And it made me really think because, when I show this image today and I show the ones of Tim and the ones of the other homeless people throughout the downtown mall, I question that authenticity. I see that image and I know what was happening at that moment and Greg knows what was happening at that moment and Mike knows, but no one else truly knows what was happening. So I think by capturing an image, it is telling a story, or at least part of a story. And I think stories are important to be heard, to better understand, different people in our society. But it's definitely not the only way. That's why I didn't just take pictures aimlessly. We wanted to actually sit down. I literally sat on the ground at the downtown mall and let his dog sit on my lap while we talked. I wanted to get to know him a little bit more, rather than just pointing and shooting my camera, at him.
Prior to this project, I found it really hard to relate to people who were homeless. I would just walk past them, maybe slow down, feel kind of paralyzed, but then just go on doing what I was doing or wherever I was going. But actually, this project made me be able to stop and realize that our experiences are actually not that different. We all care about our families, our school, our future. We have personal goals, face the same uncertainties, essentially that we're all human. So I remember leaving the Haven one day and running into this guy who was holding a sign that said, I could really use your help. So I just kind of walked up to him and asked him if he wanted to have coffee with me. So we ended up going to the Mud House and both getting hot chocolate and just kind of having an informal conversation about where we were from, how many siblings we had, what we liked to do, and realizing that we are not that different. So I guess what I really got out from this project was that, and it might sound cheesy, but sometimes people are just looking for other people to talk to listen to them, and to connect with them. We don't always understand what everyone is going through because we just don't stop and talk to them or listen to them or hear kind of what their experiences are. But I'm really glad that we had the chance to go to the Haven or go to Patcham and learn about all the awesome things that these organizations in Charlottesville are doing and be a part of it. So I hope that you all can take some time and kind of have these experiences as well and realize that there is a whole other world outside of UVA, of the corner, or whatever our immediate experiences are.
So that comes from a lot of listening, watching, and observing. And that's something that I took a lot away from this project, is just getting the chance to listen and hear the stories of people, watch them, and see how they are in their day-to-day lives. And I think that maybe as a society we could help these people more if we took more time to listen, watch, and observe them instead of, as a conglomerate, really ignoring them from society.